Hi guys, thanks for checking out my new video. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that it's been a while since I've delivered any tutorial content for my RPG series. Since making the old series, I've released an RPG add-on package for Invector, but I've since removed that from the store page, because in the background I've been working on a new project. That project is an MMO called Incardia, and I'm excited to start sharing more information on this in a devlog soon. But first, I want to talk about the networking solution that I've chosen, called FishNet. After creating my RPG add-on pack for Invector, I was at a crossroads. Whilst I wanted to develop a fun RPG title, I was stuck for time between caring for my family and doing my job, and solving issues with new releases from Invector didn't help. I also found that I was unhappy that I had to give up my MMO series after the fallout with UMMO. Eventually, I decided that I'd had enough trying to modify things, and I set out to develop my own system that would give me a third-person controller that was networked, allowing me to create online co-op or MMO experiences. Originally, I aimed for just small-scale co-op, allowing a party of players to explore an RPG world together and have fun, but I had to decide what networking solution I would use to achieve this. Having had a bad experience with the Mirror devs, I decided I'd give the new MLAPI system a try. It took me a few goes, but eventually I was able to get my head around the basics of networking code, and I was able to port a small controller into a co-op environment, replete with flight, swimming, attacking, and even AI. This was pretty neat, but I faced a problem. With MLAPI being in beta form, it constantly updated and changed, and forced me to keep changing my code to suit, which isn't too bad, but as I was just learning to code for networks, it was a lot to take in. My project also started to take on new radical ideas, like it would be a quasi-MMO co-op system where players could meet in a single instance that had no combat, just like a chat lobby but in 3D space. Players could team up with 4 other players and then set off on an adventure which would be their own personal instance. Reluctantly, I looked to using Mirror. Due to the similarities with MLAPI, I was able to pick it up pretty quickly, but I found a big problem, and that was that my code was all client authoritative. This meant that players could easily cheat in my games. I was in the middle of designing the item and inventory systems, and developing game mechanics that supported unique rewards from completing adventures, but the client authoritative setup would just cause too many vulnerabilities to this. So I returned to the web, trying to seek out examples in Unity of server authoritative setups. And that's when I discovered FishNet, or more particularly the extension tools and modifiers for Mirror made by the developer of FishNet. Firstly, the compression of a transform data was what I came across, and saw that it made for smoother movement, which was nice, but at this stage I wasn't testing over a network. While digging further, I did find out about the developers' goals of creating a simple to use server authoritative movement with client-based prediction. I got lost when trying to understand it at first, but now that I've spent some time developing with it, the system is both simple and powerful. I switched over to FishNet on its release and found the setup for server authoritative movement to be a simple exercise. In one case, all I had to do was add 2 lines of code to an existing script. I couldn't believe how easy this was to get something not only more secure, but with the bonus compression, something that's less costly to bandwidth. Now my game has expanded from the small-scale co-op instances to a persistent world with many more players. So now all my game dev efforts are focused around learning FishNet. I'll try to get a few generic tutorials on how to quickly set up a controller with server authoritative movement out, but I'll be reserving my full devlog and tutorial series on making my MMO as a reward tier for backers of my project. If you're keen to follow along, keep an eye out for my announcement video for Project Incardia, which will be coming soon.